Good afternoon, friends. Am I audible?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Hope
Good afternoon, ma'am.
a couple of minutes, another 2 minutes, and you'll see out how many. See to that people are joining. And then I'll start with the session. Okay, I'll start with today's session. So this is day 4. So in yesterday's class, we started off with the Python programming language. We discussed about the fundamentals. That is, what are all the basic components of Python. Okay, so there were 4 basic components of Python. What were there? Can I know the answers? Just a discussion, and then I'll proceed with the class. 2 minutes discussion. What were the basic components of Python? Fundamentals of Python. Fundamental topics that we discussed with respect to Python.
Ma'am, identifiers,
Yeah.
variables,
Yes, ma'am. Fine.
data types,
Identifiers, variables, data types.
data types. Uh,
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
then,
ma'am.
then the fourth one.
Fourth,
I think
ident-
you have not started. I
yes,
guess.
fourth one was that
Ma'am.
we have
Built-in
already
functions, ma'am.
not built-in functions, 4 components. We discussed about certain built-in functions, but the another major component was operators. Okay, so ma'am, thank you. Good. We saw about identifiers, variables, data types, and operators. So under operators, I think I displayed altogether 8 kinds of operators. And in our previous session, I told certain basic operators are relevant. All these operators are more or less relevant to all the languages. Okay, so I discussed in our second day session, I discussed about three major operators like arithmetic operators, relational operators, and logical operators. So all those 3 kinds of operators go fine with your Python programming. It is applicable with respect to Python programming too. So other than that, we according to your Python, that we have not only Python, for other languages too. We have assignment operators, we have bitwise operators, we have membership operators and identify operators. Okay, so these are the other 4 operators that we need to actually discuss, because all the 3 operators, that is arithmetic, relational and logical is already been discussed by us. So the same thing is applicable with respect to Python. So in that too, what I'm going to do is operators are very easy to learn and understand. So I'm going to leave two kinds of operators for your self study. It's going to be bitwise operators and assignment operators. So if you have any doubts related to it, okay, so kindly you can go check the PPT that I have given, and you can also refer some materials in Google with respect to these operators for the language Python, that is bitwise and assignment operator. So I'm not going to teach those two operators. Okay. Other than that, we have membership operators and identity operators. So all those two operators I will be discussing in today's class. So as you gave me the answer, other than this fundamental components, we discussed about how to get input from the user through the keyboard using the built-in function called as input. And we also learned if you want to display output on the screen, we learned about the statement called as print in our previous class. Okay, so now we will move on with today's content. So these are the content that we are going to discuss in today's class. Operators, under operators I'm going to discuss about membership and identity operators. Okay, other than that, the stuffs to be discussed is going to be indentation in Python. So you'll when we get into, we'll understand what it actually means, and we will be discussing in detail about selection control structure. So previously we have discussed about selection control structure in day 2. Okay, but still how it actually syntactically how it is written in Python is what we are going to see in today's class. Okay, so by taking some examples, we will work out programs using all these control structures. Okay, so I'll move on with today's class. Uh, Membership operators. So let our first discussion be with respect to membership operators. So membership operators are generally used to find out whether a particular element is present within a sequence. Okay, so that sequence can be a string or a list or a dictionary or tuple. So whatever that's been mentioned over here, all these are actually data structures with respect to they can be termed as data structures of Python. So we will be discussing in detail about all these data structures in later, but as of now you people are introduced about strings. You know what is a string. Okay, so what is the purpose of membership operators is you will take a specific element and you will find out whether that element is present in that sequence. Okay, so we will try to understand work this out with the help of the sequence called as string. So hope this screen is visible to you. Okay, it's a little bit larger, I hope. And I will start off with, let me consider you are giving a variable with a value yes. Okay, so I have declared a variable called as a, which is holding a value yes. Okay, and I am declaring a variable called as b, which is holding a value shanti inside it. Okay, so now I want to find out whether the element yes is a part of this sequence, which is a string called as shanti. Okay, so if I want to do it, okay, this is generally called as pattern matching. I just want to do the process of, I just want to find out whether a particular pattern is present within uh, a collection of strings. Okay, a set a long string or a sequence, trying to identify a pattern within a sequence. Okay, so if that's going to be my process, then I can go with the usage of these kind of membership operators. So now if I say a in b, okay, if I give a in b, it will return true. Why it is returning true? Because yes is an element. Okay, I've declared, I have stored a value yes inside a, and I have stored a string, another string called as Shanti into B. And now I am checking whether yes is present in Shanti. So I know yes is a part of Shanti, so it will come as true. So now I am giving now I'm changing the value of this variable B into Shanti. So here there is one difference between the previous string and the new string is, in the previous string all the alphabets were in lowercase. In this string the first alphabet alone is in capital. Okay, so now if I try and check a in b, it will return me false. Okay, so why it is returning false? So the part that you have to understand over here is small s is completely different from capital S. Both are not equal. Okay, so we generally use the term case sensitive. Okay, say case, lowercase, uppercase. Okay, so capital letters are termed as uppercase and small letters are termed as lowercase. So uppercase letters are always different from lowercase letters. So now if I have another membership operator called as not in. So if I say A not in B, now what will be the result of this? What is the value of yes? Sorry, what is the value of A? Small s. Okay. What is the value of B? Shanti with yes starting in capital. Okay. So A not in B. Small s, is it present in your string? No, it is not present in your string. So the answer for this particular statement will be what?
True.
That's it. It will be true. True will be the answer. Okay. So these are called as membership operators. Okay, so membership operators can be used to find out whether a specific element is present within a sequence. Okay, so this is the purpose of using membership operators. So next I will move on with the teaching of this identity operators. Okay, so membership operators, like you keep in mind there are two operators. I'll just, what are those two operators? One is going to be in, and another one is going to be not in. Okay, similarly if you move to identity operators. Okay, what is the meaning of identity operators? Is identity operators are generally used to compare the memory addresses of two objects. Okay, so it is used to compare the memory addresses of two objects. So now we need a clarity over this memory address. What is actually a memory address mean? So in our in your previous class itself I told, okay, so if I declare a variable a is equal to 12, okay, a is the variable, so a is the variable over here, and what is the meaning of 12? 12 is the data that I'm storing into this variable. So now what actually happens at the back end? Okay, so when I assign a value a to 12, okay, so in your within your computer you have your memory spaces. When you execute this program, you have the memory space. I'm just giving a picture representation of a memory space. Okay, so this memory space gets allocated to store this value called as 12. Okay, so 12 is a data which has to be stored inside this memory space. Okay, so this I can term as a memory space or a memory location. So this memory space or memory location is being is given a name by me. Okay, I am giving a name to this memory location which is termed as A. But at the same time, within the computer, this memory location will be having a address, a memory address. So how your home and my home is having an address. For example, the number. Okay, a number is being given to each and every house. Okay, in a particular street. So that number is an identity of that house within that street. In the same way, location, the memories inside your computer is being numbered. Okay, for 1 byte, there will be one number value. Okay, so that number is being given for each and every variable. So variable is the identifier name that I'm giving to a data. So data go get stored into a memory. So this memory has its own address. Okay, so I don't know that address. So how can I come to know about this address? So why I'm speaking about much about this memory address? No, so only you can understand this operator. Okay, so the I hope you got, when I store the data, this data gets stored into memory. So for that memory, I am assigning a name called as the variable, but in the computer itself, that memory will be having its own address. Okay, so now that address is important. So what is being stated as an identity operator? Identity operator are used to compare the memory addresses of two objects. So if I take two variables, okay, so the two objects values will be stored into a memory or location, and that location will be compared over here. So now to make you understand, the operators are going to be is and is not. So before comparing Let me introduce. Okay, let me introduce a built-in function. Okay, I will be introducing a built-in function over here. So that built-in function is called as id. Okay, so here I have mentioned that built-in function. It is called as id. So id is a built-in function, okay, to which if you pass a variable or an object. Okay, so if you give an object to id, what id will return is, it will return the memory address of the given object. So object oda name வந்து the variable, அந்த name நான் கொடுத்தேன்னா அந்த object உடைய address it will return. So that is the purpose of this built-in function. So we will just see how it works over here. So let me take two variables again. I'm assigning the value 12 for A and I'm assigning value 12 for P. Okay, so I've taken two variables A and B and I've assigned the same values to A and B, 12 and 12. So data is going to be represented in the will be treated in the form of an object over here. So now I'm using my ID function. So ID of A. So it is returning a lengthier number. This is called as your memory address. Okay, this is your memory address. Now if I give ID of B, it will again return the same address. Okay, so the point that you have to understand over here is, when I initialized, okay, when I declared A is equal to 12, what happened? A
Given address.
memory location got allocated. 12 was put into that memory location, and this object was being pointed by your A. So after finishing this execution, I'm moving on with the execution of the second item, where I have to assign B is equal to 12. So already I have a 12. So rather than creating a new memory address, what I'm doing over here is I will make B also to point to the same address. Okay, so this is what working with objects it actually means. A and B are pointing to the same data value, so A and B can be termed as same objects. Okay, is it clear? So only the value of the memory address of A as well as the memory address of B are the same over here. Okay, memory address of A and B are same. Okay, so now if I apply my identity operator, that is A is B, is an identity operator. Now, if I say A is B, it will return true because the memory location of A as well as the memory location of B are the same. Okay, clear. Now, if I'm changing the value of B to 15, okay, or even I can change it to a string, I'll change it to 15. So B is equal to 15. So now, if I again check A is B, okay, now if I before getting into A is B, I'll put ID of B. Now, if you see the ID of B, you can clearly see the difference. So here, in this case, both of them were same. Okay. Now, if you check out the ID, the address of B has changed because the value of B has got changed. Now, if I check A is B,
False.
it will say false. Now, if I say A is not B, it will return true. Okay, hope I am clear. So whenever you work with Python, each and every variable in a Python will be treated as an object. Okay, so whenever an object has been created, and if two objects are holding the same values, they will be made pointed to the same memory location. When the object value gets changed, memory location gets changed. A new memory location will be created and the new value will be put in over there, and the address will also get changed over here. So this is the purpose of using identity operators. Okay, so this is the purpose of using identity operators, is and is not, or the two identity operators. So we will be using these operators, is not, in, not in. All these operators will be used in further control structures or further features that we will be seeing later. Okay, so only I am putting because these two operators, okay, these two operators are not a part of many other programming languages. Okay, they're not present in other programming languages like C, C++, and all. So it's a part of Python. So I have explained it. Okay, so the remaining operators, I told you can do it as a self study. It's not at all a problem. But if you have any doubts, obviously you can either contact me or your laboratory teachers, so to have a detailed explanation of those operators. Okay, so now I will move on with the next topic called as indentation in Python. Okay, so what is meant by indentation? Why we go for do you people have a clarity on what is meant by indent? What is meant by indentation?
Normally, we move a paragraph
Yeah.
inside, like what we call it as
Yes.
indenting a paragraph. The first
Yes.
line is getting indented.
So indenting a document. So when you are being given with a Word document, okay, if you want your Word document in a very structurized manner, then obviously you will apply proper indentation in it. That is the spacing between two paragraphs. Okay, the spacing between different blocks in your program have to be emphasized in a correct way. Then only you can say that the document is properly indented. Okay, so now why indentation is a part of Python is coming into a question. So we speak about a term called as block over here. Okay, so whatever programs that we have written till now can be treated as a single block. Okay, so how do you define a block in any programming language? Okay, block is a term which has been associated with the programming language. So block will be defined as a group of statements, okay, which is going to do a specific task or purpose. Okay, block na enna or group of statements என்றது இப்ப a is equal to b, sorry, a is equal to 12, b is equal to 13, c is equal to a plus b, then print C அப்படின்னு நான் எழுதுனேன்னா, that is a each and every line represents a statement. Okay, this four lines become a group of statement because they're going to do a specific task of summing up of two numbers. Okay, so that is called as a block over here. So block is a group of statements. So in most of your programming languages, how one block, for example, it's not necessary that a program will always be constructed with one block inside it. Okay, a program can have more than one block inside it. If that is going to be the case, how do you separate one block from another block becomes a question. Okay, so the other languages like C++ and Java will be using curly brackets to differentiate the blocks, differentiate one block from another block. Okay, but Python is not going to use curly braces. It will be using indentation. So with the help of indentation, you have to understand that there are different blocks within a particular program. So as I said earlier, if this is going to be your one block, okay, hope my screen is visible to you.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here if you see there is only one block in this program. Why do I say there is only one block? Because everyone are indented at one point. So if you take this line, it starts from here. If you take this line, it all the lines are starting from the same point. Okay, so I can say all of them belong to the same group. Okay, so now if I have more than one block in a code, what I have to do? Python works out with the help of indentation. Okay, so it will use white spaces for indentation of blocks. We can say it as white spaces, or we can say those white spaces can be applied in the form of tabs. Okay, white spaces will be applied in the form of tab. You know, tab. What is the purpose of tab in your computer? Okay, so white spaces are used for the purpose of indenting the blocks, differentiating one block from another block. And you will also use a symbol called as colon. Okay, colon will be used to indicate that this is where a new block is starting. Okay, so to practically understand, whatever I'm saying now is a theoretical part of all these stuff. So to practically understand the indentation in Python program, when we move on with the study of the different control structures, either it's going to be a selection or it's going to be iteration, we will clearly understand how indentation is applied. Okay, so as of now, Python uses indentation to differentiate one block from another block. Okay, so indentation using white spaces, as well as it will be using colon to indicate the start of a block. So I'll move on with the next topic, that is, already we have discussed about control structures. Okay, control structures actually means flow control. Okay, so flow control means if I write a program, the execution of the program will actually take place line by line. Okay, so first line will get executed, then second line, then third line, then fourth line, then fifth line. So this is called as a proper flow. So if there is going to be a change in this flow, okay, the control is going to be transferred. That is from line 5, the control is going to get transferred to line 8. Okay, so then obviously this will generally happen with the introduction of control structure. So what we are going to discuss in today's class is about selection control structure. Does anyone remember what is meant by selection control structure? I have already discussed. I think you can answer. Selection control structure we have already discussed. Yeah, if else is an example for selection control structure. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, decision. I got answers. So decision
when we
making.
want to consider any alternatives.
Yes, that's it. So when you want to make a decision, and based on that decision, you want to decide upon different alternatives, that alternative of statements that needs to get executed is actually the meaning of selection control structure. But if you take any languages or if you take any scenarios, there will be three kinds of flow control. Control will be flowing in three ways. The first way is called as sequential. So whatever I discussed earlier is called as sequential. Okay, control flows through all the statements in the order in which it is written. That is called as sequential. So selection is being represented in this way. So what happens over here? You come inside. Okay, I'm just recollecting what we have. You are coming inside. So this diamond shape actually implies there is a conditional check. So based on that conditional check, you want to make a decision either to go this side or to go this side. So if this condition becomes true, I will go this side. If this condition becomes false, I will move to this set of statements. Okay. So again, if there is a decision making, again you will go left or right. Based on true, you will execute a set of statements. Based on the resultant false, you will be executing a set of statements. So decision making happens with respect to selection. Okay, so based on some conditions, the control flow to different set of statements. Always, if I'm using selection control structure within my program, there will be a scenario where some statements will never get executed. Okay, so next, and the third one is called as iteration. So iteration actually implies the same. For example, in this case, in this simple diagram, it's been shown whatever is in blue is being repeated again and again until a specific condition is met. Okay, so certain statements will be executed repeatedly based on your problem scenario. That is called as iteration. So these are the control structures, flow control structures that we know, and in today's class we are going to concentrate on selections. Okay, so we are going to discuss in detail about the selection control structures that are present in your Python language. So there are three selection controls that we are going to discuss in today's class. So first one is if else, second one is if else ladder. Okay, it's if else ladder, and third one is nested if else. So all these three steps we have discussed already in our day 2. So I'm just going to recollect those first those steps now, and then I'll move on with the discussion of each and every selection control structure. So to start with, if else. Okay, if else is generally used when you have to check only one condition. If that condition is true, you will execute a set of statements. If that condition is false, you will execute another set of statements. Okay, this is for if else. When we speak about if else if ladder, elif ladder, it actually means you have multiple alternatives. There will be a there will be a necessity for you to check more than one condition. Okay, so you can make your decision only after checking all those conditions. So if that is going to be the case, you go for if else ladder. Okay, and the third option is called as nested if. So nested if can also do the work of if else ladder. So within an if you are trying to put another if block. Okay, so ஒரு if block குள்ள இன்னொரு if block நீ போட்டீங்கன்னா that is called as nested if else. So we will have a detailed discussion about each and every control structure. So we'll start with the first one, if else. Okay, so if else, the syntax of if else goes in this way. So if you will mention a condition, so with respect to Python, we are discussing with respect to Python. So if is your keyword. Okay, so after following that, if you have to mention the condition, so either you can put round brackets for this condition or not. That's your own wish. Okay, போடலனாலும் it will accept, போட்டாலும் it will accept. So after you write your condition, okay, you have to keep a colon. So what is the meaning of this colon is, if else, okay, this if else is actually a block. Okay, is actually a block, a different block which is present inside your program. Okay, which is present inside your program, because the flow can vary with respect to this conditions state. If the condition becomes true, the statement within this if will get executed. If the condition becomes false, the statement within it else alone will get executed. So why this semicolon is kept over here is, whatever statement, okay, whatever statement that is going to follow after if, okay, has to be kept after one tab. That's the first point. நீங்க பண்ணவே தேவையில்ல, நீங்க if condition colon வச்சிட்டாலே that will indicate that is the start of an if block. Okay, so obviously the next statement should go within that if block. Okay, so it is enclosed. This if is actually enclosing the statement. So on the tab space adva விட்டுடும் in the statements. It's not necessary there should be only one statement. You can have more than one statement inside it. So more than one statement இருந்துச்சுன்னா நம்ம என்ன பண்ணணும், அந்த ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் எல்லாத்தோட ஸ்டார்டிங் பாயிண்ட் வந்து இந்த பாயிண்ட் தான். Okay, clear? And after finishing the set of statements, after grouping all the statements within if clause, we will move to else. Okay, so else also indicates that it is going to that is the start of a block. There can be a set of statements inside else. Okay, ipo iduve else adnala colon vechittu again a tab space will happen, then you can write the statements within else block. Ipo iduve vera language ah irundha avanga enna pannirpaanga, if some other language, I'm just saying, what will happen is they would have put a curly braces. இந்த கோலன்லாம் வச்சிருக்க மாட்டாங்க, இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு curly brackets போட்டுருவாங்க. So எத்தனை statements இருந்தாலும், whatever statements that are present within that curly braces are a part of that if block. Okay, so the if condition becomes true, all those statements within that curly braces will get executed. இப்ப நம்ம கேஸ்ல, when it comes to Python, if the if clause becomes true, all these statements, okay, இந்த ஒரு tabல இருக்கிற எல்லா ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட்ஸும் will get executed with respect to if. Else அதே மாதிரி தான், சேம் கண்டிஷன் இஸ் அப்ளைட். இந்த if false ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா இந்த elseக்கு உள்ள இருக்கிற all group of statements will get executed. So this is how indentation is applied with respect to this selection control structure called as if else. So now we will try to understand, we will work out our own example. So we will take that airport scenario itself. So let our discussion be with respect to this airport scenario. So whenever we go with the process of checking in an airport, so there will be many checkpoints. Okay, so the first checkpoint is the passport validation, which is done by an airport security. Always there will be an airport security who will be doing the passport verification validation. So what he will actually do is, he will see your photo and the name. Okay, and if everything goes fine with the password, he will say, if the password state is valid, the checking validation will be cleared. If the passport status is invalid, then obviously you will not get cleared with the validation process. Okay, so if the passport status is going to be valid, your check-in will be cleared. Otherwise your check-in will not be cleared. So here you can see an if else syntax. So we will try to write a program relevant to this. So I'm just writing a script. Okay, so I will start with the program directly. So initially we will get the name of the person as an input. Okay, so I will directly give the name. Okay, rather than getting it as an input, name is equal to, I'll give the name as d dot, I'm giving my name over here. Okay, so now I will also print a statement called as passport validation. Okay, so this is a passport validation process. So I'm putting passport validation. So name is equal to Sorna Shanti. I'm giving it within double quotes. Then I'm getting the passport validity status of the passport from the through the keyboard. So I'll put the variable name as status. Okay, so status is equal to I'm just going to get this value from keyboard. Okay, so I will use the input. If I want to get input from the keyboard, I have to use my input function. So input function, enter the, and just enter the status of passport. Okay, so that can be either valid and just invalid. Okay, so after getting the status, what I have to do? So now I know the name of the person, okay, and I know the status of the passport. Okay, after knowing the status of the passport, what I have to do? I have to check what is the status of the password. So how do I perform this check? Using my if else construct. So if status, I can put, I can open round brackets. அது இல்லாமலும் பண்ணலாம். If status is equal to, okay, I would have got a value for status over there. I'm checking again this valid. Again, this string called as valid. So now I have to keep a colon. So this indicates this is the start of the if block. Okay. So since you have kept a colon, your Python itself automatically moves one tab of space. Okay. And it will say this is the starting point from where you can write the statement which are going to be present within your if block. So now I will say print airport. Okay, check in, sorry, validation, passport, passport valid. Okay, I'll just give this information and I will print another statement. Print, I'm just saying you can go, you can move on. I'm just putting an extra line. So now if you think that only these two statements is enough within your if clause, now I will move on with my else part. Okay, so if I press a backspace, it will come to front. So here this is else. So this if and else are in the sequence of your program. So now else colon, if I keep, it will go one tab next. So that to indicate that the next set of statements are within the else. Okay, so now I will print passport invalid, and I can say print wait. Okay, so now my complete sequence of program is more what? This is my entire block. So you have your print statement, a statement of assignment, an input statement, and an if else clause. Okay, so now these two statements are present only within your if. So if your if gets true, this will get executed, and these two statements are present only within your else. So if your if your if gets, if the if condition becomes false, this else loop will get executed. So now if I want to run this program, so if I keep run module, it is asking me to save. I'll save it. Okay, passport.py, I'm just giving pp.py, enter. So it will ask me passport validation. Okay, so here you can see passport validation. So it is asking me for an input. So input, if I give valid, one sec. Things are not visible. Enter the status of the passport. If I give valid, okay, it will say passport valid, you can move on. So if I again execute this program, run module, okay, and if I give invalid or any value, okay, if I say invalid, it will say passport invalid, wait. Okay, so the else part alone is executed in the second case, and the if part alone is getting executed in your previous case. So this is how you will work with if else Okay, if else selection structure. Whenever there is going to be a decision making which involves uh, one part, only one condition. So if this condition becomes true, this set of statements will get executed. If the condition get false, another set of statements will get executed. If that is going to be the case, we can go for if else. So I'll move on with the discussion of the second control structure, that is if elif ladder. Okay, so if elif else ladder, as I said previously, this particular control structure, selection control structure, can be used when you have multiple alternatives. You have to check more than one condition, and if you want to make up a decision, then you can go for this if elif else ladder. Okay, so the syntax of if elif else ladder goes like this. Okay, so if, again the same stuff, you know this. So if is the keyword over here, you have to mention the condition, then you have to keep a colon. So all the statements within the if will have this indentation. So next you have another condition again. If this if becomes false, okay, if this condition fails, again you want to check another condition. If that is going to be the case, you will use the clause called as elif. elif மட்டும்தான் போடணும். elif மட்டும்தான் போடணும். elif you have to mention the condition over here, then a colon. So this elif part, okay, can appear n number of times. So how many conditions that you want to check? For example, if you have 5 conditions in your program, the first condition will get into your if, remaining 4 conditions will get into 4 elif. Okay, so after finishing this elif, again you can have another elif. I hope you can understand. Okay, again you can have another elif, again you can have another elif. So the based on your application's requirement, you can move on building this elif ladder. Okay, and finally, if all of these conditions are not met, okay, if all the conditions that I've checked has not met, then I will go with the else part. So another point that you have to clearly understand over here is, in the if true ஆயிருச்சுன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க, what will actually happen? Can anyone tell? If this if gets true, what happens?
program
Execute
ends.
ஆகும் இல்ல மேம் டைரக்டா?
If that if gets true, that condition becomes true, what happens? I'm asking. Yeah,
It executes
what
and
executes?
output.
What gets executed? I want your answer to be clear. So if this condition becomes true, yes, fine. The statements that are present within this if alone will get executed. All the other parts will not be executed. Okay, understand? So for example, if this if becomes false, okay, now I am checking this elif condition. If this elif condition becomes true, the statement within this elif alone will get executed. All the others that are following will be excluded, will not get executed. Okay, so if I have 5 elif, okay, if all the elif condition is not true, everything is giving me false, then finally whatever that is present within the else will get executed. Okay, so if in the if fail ஆயிடுச்சு, இப்போ இந்த கேஸ்ல எடுத்துக்கிட்டோம்னா, இந்த if failed, இந்த condition false ஆயிடுச்சு, திருப்பி வந்து இந்த condition check பண்ற, இந்த condition false ஆயிடுச்சு. If that is going to be the case, then you will go to else and you will execute all the statements within this else. Okay, so when you work with selection control structure, you have to keep one point in mind. எந்த if clause உடைய condition true ஆகுதோ அதோடைய group of statements மட்டும்தான் execute ஆகும், மீதி எதோடதும் execute ஆகாது. Okay, only the statement within. இப்போ இந்த if true ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா, இந்த if true ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா, இந்த statements மட்டும்தான் execute ஆகும். அதுக்கப்புறம் போய் திருப்பி இந்த கண்டிஷன் எல்லாம் நான் செக் பண்ண மாட்டேன். முதல் கண்டிஷன் எனக்கு ட்ரூ ஆயிடுச்சு, so it's enough. I will stop it over here and I will move on with the statements which is coming. அதாவது இந்த மொத்தத்தையும் நான் skip பண்ணிட்டு என் ப்ரோக்ராம்ல if I have other statements following it, directly my control gets transferred here. Okay, so keep that point in your mind. So if it's going to be an if elif ladder, which if elif is getting true, condition is getting true, the block within that if or elif alone will get executed. Okay, remaining stuffs will never get executed. If all the if and elif gets failed, then the statements within your else loop will get executed. Okay, so now again we will take this airport scenario. So the check-in point, that is after finishing your validation, if you get into your airport, the second thing that you will always do is baggage check-in. Okay, so baggage check-in involves a set of process over here. So I'll just do the same program. So I'm going to do baggage check-in. So whenever I work out baggage check-in, I have to get user input. What is the input that I will get from the user? What is their luggage weight? Okay, so they will be in airports when you go or travel in flight. Okay, there is a limit of weight that you can carry along with you. Okay, so they give a limit 30 kgs, 32 kgs of items are allowed without any cost. Okay, they will not uh, uh, charge you for that. Okay, that charges comes along with your airport sorry, your air ticket itself. Okay, so if you are trying to carry your luggages which are more than that limit, then obviously you will be charged with some, you have to give some extra payment for that purpose. So that is the stuff that we are going to work out over here. So the first input for baggage check-in is you have to know what is the weight of your luggage. So I'm getting that as user input, luggage weight. Okay, so luggage weight is equal to, since it's an integer value, I am enclosing my input, user input function within that. Okay, so enter the enter luggage weight. Okay, so I've got this as input. Okay, so now what I have to do is I need to specify the weight limit. So what is the weight limit? So I will directly specify the weight limit to be 32, for example. Okay, so this is the another input I require for this problem, and I need to initialize my, if my luggage is going to be greater than this limit 32, then obviously I need to pay some extra charge. Okay, so I will initialize this extra charge to 0. So initially my extra charge value is 0. If my luggage weight is going to be greater than 32, then that amount will be added to my, a specific amount will get added to my extra charge value. So now I'm going to proceed with my process. So I'm going to use an if elif ladder over here. So if, what is the condition I have to set in if first? So whenever the weight of the luggage is being measured, what I have to do first? What I have to do first? So let us
Luggage weight.
consider, I will, before getting into it, I'll explain a scenario over here. So I have kept the weight limit to be 32. Okay. So if I add 10 with 32, what will be my result? If I add 10 with 32, what will be my result?
42.
42. Okay. So if my weight limit is within 42, okay, if my weight limit is between 32 and 42, what I will do is I will charge 300 rupees per kg. Okay. Hope I am clear. So if the weight, if for example, if your luggage weight is 40, okay, your luggage weight is 40. Clear? So how much extra luggage you are carrying? 8 kgs of luggage. 8 kgs, because the weight limit is 32, you are carrying 40. Okay, that 40 is within that 42. So 8 kg is extra. So for 1 kg, I'm saying 300. So for 8 kg, 300 multiplied by 8. Okay, so now if you are carrying a luggage which is greater than 42, there is another threshold value that is being set, which is called as 42. If it's going to be greater than 42, but if I'm carrying 45, okay, which is greater than even 42. So what I'm going to do is I will charge 500 per kg. Okay. So now what happens if I'm carrying 45 from 32 to 45, it's going to be 13 kgs. Now this 13 kgs will get multiplied by 500, not 300, because I've crossed their second threshold. What was their first limit? It was 32. Second limit was 42. If it's going to be above 42, a different charge. Okay. So these kind of charges we generally come across in all real world examples, whether we are going to pay our EV bill or whether it's going to be charging weights in airport, all these stuffs will happen. So this is the problem scenario. So now we will move on with the solving part. So if what will be the condition I will be checking first?
Luggage weight.
Yeah, luggage weight. Luggage weight. Yeah,
42.
okay.
Less than 32 will be the first condition.
Less than or equal to. Limit was 32 because I have weight limit. I'll give it as weight underscore limit. Okay. So luggage underscore weight is going to be less than or equal to 32. Less than other limit 32 varaikkum allowed. So equal to irunduchina, what I will do? If I'm carrying only 30 kgs, then obviously, is there any necessity for further processing? No. My baggage check-in is cleared. Yes or no? So I can just print baggage check-in cleared. Okay, that's it. So now, what will be the next condition that I need to check? So now, if fails, in the if fail ஆயிடுது, okay, in the if fail ஆயிடுதுதான் அதுக்கு என்ன அர்த்தம்? What is the meaning of it?
Weight limit crashes.
Yes, your luggage weight is greater than
32.
32. Obviously, it is greater than 32. So now I have to find out whether it is within 42 or not. Okay. So I am going to check another condition, L if. Okay. Now again, luggage weight is, what should be the condition?
Greater than
Less than or
equal.
Less than equal to
42.
42. I can put 42 directly, or I can even write weight limit plus 10. Okay. I'll go with weight underscore limit plus 10. That is 42. Okay. So this is my next condition. So if this is going to be the case, what happens over here? If this if becomes true, what I will do? If this
And
if
check for
becomes
baggage
true,
charge.
if this if becomes true, what I need to do?
Extra charges.
I have to put an extra charge. Okay. So I have an extra charge value, which is already equal to 0. So extra charge is equal to what? I said 300. 300 multiplied by what? For each kg, 300. So what should be the operation expression that should come over here? For example, if it's going to be 40. Okay. So 40 na எவ்வளவு kg வரும்? Weight limit
8
வந்து
kg.
32.
8
Okay.
kg.
8 and 8 நான் எப்படி இவங்க கண்டுபிடிக்கிறது? How I will find it out? It's just a formula. You can easily say. Simple operation.
Luggage
Weight
weight
limit.
minus weight limit, madam.
That's it. Luggage weight
Plus 10 ma'am.
Minus light weight limit.
minus luggage weight. Okay, luggage weight is my total weight minus weight limit. Weight underscore limit. This is allowed for me. Okay. This is your extra charge. I will calculate the extra charge and I will print pay the extra charge. That's it. I can say, I can just pay this extra charge amount, extra underscore charge. Okay. So now, okay. So if both these conditions are not going to be true, obviously it means what? My luggage weight is
More than 42.
more than 42. So it's not necessary for me to check the condition. Okay. So what I will do, I directly put else and I will say extra luggage. I'm just copying it. So extra luggage should be multiplied, will be based on 500. Okay. And I will print pay. I think I have not made mistakes uh, in writing those names again and again. So this becomes my else part. Okay. So this is your if, elif, else ladder. So if I run this program, one sec, control yes. I have to save it. I'll save it. And if I execute it, so enter luggage weight. So what I will do is I will give a value which is lesser than 30 first. So baggage check-in cleared is my answer. Okay. So now again I will execute the same run module. So now I am saying the weight to be what we gave 40. So 8 kgs more. So 8 kgs more implies 8 multiplied by 300. So 8 into 3 is 24. So 2500 is what I have to pay extra. Okay. And if I give a weight which is greater than 42, that is 45. Okay. So totally 13 multiplied by 500. That gives me 6500 is the extra charge that I have to pay in order to clear my baggage check-in. So when there is going to be multiple alternatives that you have to make in your application, decision making is going to be in that way. Then it's fine if you go with LF ladder. So either when you work out with one program, it is more understandable, but you have to type in and check. அப்பதான் அந்த indentation அந்த கோலன் எல்லாமே நம்ம கரெக்டா வைப்போம், இல்லைன்னா அதுல மிஸ்டேக்ஸ் பண்ணுவோம். So try to work it out. Okay. So I hope it's clear. So this is your baggage check-in. So the third selection structure that we have to see is nested if. So the syntax of nested if you combine all these else if ladder together. Okay. If else clause குள்ள நீ வந்து இன்னொரு if else clause போட்டனாலும் சரி, if else clauseக்கு உள்ள நீங்க இன்னொரு if elif ladder clause போட்டாலும் சரி, everything is nested. Nesting is putting one block inside another block. That is called as nesting. So I can show you the syntax itself is actually an simple example over here. So what is this? First you had your if. Okay. So this if this if becomes true, this is the statement that is going to get executed. This is the first statement that is going to get executed. If this if becomes false, where you will jump? இந்த if ஓட அலைன்மெண்ட்ல இருக்கிற அந்த எல்ஸ் யாரு? இவங்க தான். ஓகே. இந்த if ஓட சேம் பாயிண்ட் ஸ்டார்டிங்ல இருக்கிற எல்ஸ் யாரு? இவங்க தான். ஸோ இந்த if ஃபால்ஸ் ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா you will come to this else part. So this clearly states that all the other statements, okay, these are all the statements. These are all the group of statements which is present inside this if block. Okay, they are present inside this if block. So why do I call it as nested if else? Is inside an if else clause I have nested another if else clause. So now ulla if else podla, if elif podla. So this if elif else ladder is a block which is present inside this if. So in the if elif border in the if true ஆனா மட்டும்தான், when this if becomes true, then only you will come inside, execute this statement, then you will move on to this if. Again the process of if elif will happen over here. Okay. After any one of these statement gets executed, you will come out. Okay. Your control will get transferred out of it. Else but in the if or else it will not get executed. So putting an if elif block or putting an if else block inside an if else block is generally termed as nested if else. So இவங்க எப்படி வேணாலும் block ஆகலாம். So நான் அதுக்கு directly I'll take the airport scenario itself, the complete check-in process. Okay. So complete check-in process I will show you the program. It will take time to type. அதனால whatever that we have done till now is being combined. இதுக்கு முன்னாடி நம்ம எழுதின ரெண்டு ப்ரோக்ராமையும் இங்க simplified combine பண்ணிருக்கோம். So எப்படி combine பண்ணிருக்கோம் மட்டும் I will explain. So I think it's whatever I have shown is visible to you. Fine. So how I have combined over here? One sec. Is it visible to you? Alt tab. One sec. Okay, so I will explain this over here. So what we are going to do is the same process. I'm going to get passport status as input. Along with passport status, I'm also going to include another status called as ticket status, whether the ticket is confirmed or not. Okay, and the third item that I'm going to get as input from the user is going to be luggage weight. So I will get the passport status as input, I will get the ticket status as an input, and the luggage weight as an input. So these three are going to play a vital role in my check-in process. Okay, so then I am fixing my weight limit to 30, and my extra luggage charge is being initialized to 0 over here. So what I'm doing first is, whenever, as I said, whenever I get into an airport, the first thing that happens is my passport validation. Okay, so if my passport validation is true, I can go proceed with my other steps. Then they will go ahead with my ticket confirmation, and then I will proceed with my baggage check. Okay, so if this condition is true, then only the group of statements which are present inside it will get executed. Otherwise it won't. Okay, so in the if கான corresponding else clause யாரு இங்க இருக்காங்க, அதே லைன்ல அதே பாயிண்ட்ல ஆரம்பிச்சு அதே பாயிண்ட்ல முடியறவங்க, இவங்க தான் இவங்களுடைய எல்ஸ். இந்த எல்ஸ்ல என்ன போட்டிருக்க, if this passport status is valid, you will say airport security is cleared. Okay, security check is cleared. In the if it fails, what you will do, you will come to this else part and you will directly print it is invalid passport. What you will do, you will directly print it as invalid passport. So இவங்க ரெண்டு பேரும் தான் காம்பினேஷன். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்டெப்பே நம்ம எழுதுறோம்னா இப்படிதான் எழுதுவோம். So passport status is equal to valid, I will print airport security check cleared, else I will print invalid passport. So after writing this, what I will do is, இந்த if clause இன்னும் elaborate பண்ணணும். Okay, எப்படி elaborate பண்ணணும், inside this if becomes true, my passport validation is clear. Now I will have to check for my ticket clearance. Okay, ticket status. So if ticket status is equal to confirmed na, I have to go check in my baggages. Okay, என்னோட ticket status confirmed இருந்தா மட்டும்தான் I can proceed with the check-in process of my luggages. Okay, if this if becomes false, என்ன ஆயிடணும், இந்த if ஓட corresponding else யாரு, இவங்க தான். So இந்த else வந்து என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க, sorry, ticket is not confirmed. So you cannot proceed with your checking process. So inside your first if, you have written another if. Okay, ஒரு if else, ஒரு if else குள்ள, அதாவது எந்த if else குள்ள, passport validity check குள்ள இருக்கிற if else குள்ள இன்னொரு if else வந்துருச்சு, என்னது, ticket confirmation. So ticket confirmed இருந்துச்சுன்னா, what I have to do, I have to proceed with the baggage check-in process. இப்போ பேகேஜ் செக்இன்க்கு இதுக்கு முன்னாடி நம்ம எழுதணும்ல, அதே ப்ராசஸ் தான். லக்கேஜ் வெயிட் கிரேட்டர் தேன் 0வா இருந்துச்சுன்னா, அண்ட் லக்கேஜ் வெயிட் லெஸர் தேன் ஆர் ஈக்குவல் டு வெயிட் லிமிட்னா இட்ஸ் கிளியர்ட். எல்இஃப் அடுத்த செக், ஓகே 300 சார்ஜ் பண்ணுவேன், அடுத்த செக் ஓகே 500 சார்ஜ் பண்ணுவேன். ஸோ இங்க ரெண்டு இடத்துலயும் இஃப் லக்கேஜ் சார்ஜ் இஸ் கிரேட்டர் தேன் 0வா இருந்துச்சுன்னா ஐ வில் பிரிண்ட், அதர்வைஸ் nothing will happen. Okay, so this complete part is present inside this ticket confirmation. Okay, so in the if oda else enna, sorry, ticket is not confirmed. So putting an if elif ladder or an if else clause within another if else clause, then that is called as selection control. Okay, hope I am clear. You have any doubts over here? Am I clear how we worked out selection control structure? If you are not clear, I can repeat it again. If you are clear, then I will proceed. Okay, fine. So this is how you will work with the different kinds of selection control structure. So I think it's already time up. If time permits, kindly go through this question. Okay, I've given this question along with your presentation PPT. It will be there. Okay, this is a very simple problem. You have been asked to write a very simple Python program to calculate an amount, okay, of travel. Idella real world applications, real world scenarios. If I travel along with my friends to a particular place, so how many, if we want to share the fuel cost, how we will proceed with the calculation of that amount. Okay, or for all what and all the inputs that are required for this scenario, everything should be given as input. What is the process that we have to apply in order to calculate the fuel cost, and finally how we are going to divide it among the four. அந்த ப்ராசஸ் தான் இங்க. ஓகே, எல்லாமே பிளஸ் மைனஸ் மல்டிப்ளிகேஷன் டிவிஷன் கான்செப்ட் தான். ஸோ இந்த ப்ராப்ளமை இஃப் எல்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணி சால்வ் பண்ணலாம். ஸோ ட்ரை டு சால்வ் திஸ் ப்ராப்ளம் பை யுவர் செல்ஃப். ஸோ இந்த கொஸ்டினை ரீட் பண்ணிட்டு இதோட ஆன்சரும் என்கிட்ட இருக்கும், பட் நீங்களா ஒர்க் அவுட் பண்ண ட்ரை பண்ணுங்க. Okay, so other than this, try to work out quiz number 11, 12, 13, 14 and exercise 11 in InfyTQ portal. So it will support you. It will guide you. It will make you to test your own knowledge of the understandability of today's session. So whatever that you have understood in today's session, and the understandability level எப்படி இருக்குன்றத இந்த quizzes and exercise which is present in InfyTQ portal, it will support. And similarly, the content in your digital cafe. Okay, and again, I just want to put one more point. Attendance is important. Okay, so kindly, whatever, if you have a very genuine reason, you can send us a mail. Otherwise, kindly attend these sessions without fail and try to accomplish your task that have been given in the digital cafe. Okay, so you need to, I think Bhuvaneshwaran sir would have shared a form, so try to give your attendance over there. And similarly, during your laboratory sessions, have a very cool interaction with your teachers. Okay, your teachers are expecting whatever doubts. If you feel that something, if you feel that I have gone a little bit fast over here, you can just express to them, because you are only 9 or 10 people to them. 14, something around 12 to 13 people only is being given a particular teacher. So whatever doubts that you have, kindly feel free to ask them. They will support you in all means. So if you have any doubts, I will proceed, or you can proceed with your laboratory sessions. Bhuvan, have you shared the sheet already? Bhuvan, they're
Attendance
asking to
is
share the
not,
form again.
attendance link is not yet shared, ma'am, for today.
Bhuvan, sir, we have an attendance link, no? Bhuvan, is Bhuvan
Ma'am,
there?
it is there already
It's
in
there
chat box.
already, ma'am. Someone again can repost it, I think. Yeah. Thank you. If you have doubts, feel free to ask me, and at the same time, you can also ask the our friends, colleagues who are a part of the laboratory session. So if you are done, we are done with today's day. You can move on with your practical session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.